Praise the Lord.
The ongoing fifth and final season of The Boys has been a mixed experience for me so far. I mean, there have been some fun bits and pieces, but overall, the story's been stalling with no real development. I get the build-up for a big finish, but 5 episodes in, I expect more action and drama to set up the final showdown. Nevertheless, the show has introduced an interesting mix of new characters for the final season, and Father is easily the one who has been the most impactful. He's essentially a corrupt religious supe who uses the cover of holiness to be a part of some questionable activities. And now he's been inducted into the trusted board of Vought because he knows the tricks of appeasing Homelander. Also, he's married to Ashley Barrett, the vice president, and he finds himself holding a very important position in Homelander's council, especially after the death of Firecracker. But I think that there's more to him than being a glorified sidekick, and behind his silly demeanor, there hides a cunning mind. Who is he really? And what can be this big bad idea? What are his superpowers that we haven't even seen on the show yet? You'll find all the answers in this video, so stay tuned, as long as you don't mind a few spoilers along the way. How is Father introduced in the show? The very first episode of Season 5 introduces this new character, Father, and Daveed Diggs plays the role to perfection. From the onset, it's clear as daylight the show has strayed far from the source material when it comes to this character, and I'll talk about that later in this video. He's married to Ashley, who's now the Vice President of the United States of America, and an interview with Ashley reveals that they apparently met at the National Prayer Breakfast. We all know how staged and fake these interviews are, so let's not read too much into this. The story later spills the real reason behind their marriage, which was suggested by Sister Sage for the optics. What immediately catches my attention is his suit, which looks impeccable. It's a white suit with gold crosses everywhere, and it's also revealed that he's taken over as the head pastor at Samaritan's Embrace after the previous head, Ezekiel, was killed by Butcher in the last season. Then he's brought back in the second episode, where he facilitates A-Train's funeral. I'm impressed by his ability to get the crowd going with his echo and amplifying voice effects, and he puts the blame on Starlighters and declares them as possessed by evil. I think the mask of Father wears out after his intense and freaky sex session with Ashley, when she learns that his church is millions in debt and she's concerned by this. Of course, Father assures her that he has things under control, and this is when I start wondering what he's up to on the side because he doesn't break a sweat. Overall, his character is a despicable figure who's been accused before of molesting minors, and you can tell from the way he speaks that he's up to no good. But he's a smart individual who understands the weakness of Homelander. The leader of the Seven is hungry for approval and needs constant fuel for his ego, and Father does that perfectly without questioning a single thing. Unfortunately, sucking up to Homelander is not a guarantee of survival in the show, if we've learned anything from the horrifying fate of Firecracker, who dies trying to prove her love and loyalty. What is Father like in the comic books? Father does not have a very significant presence in the comic books, but he does appear as a minor antagonist. He's introduced pretty late into the comic series, and he's first seen at Capes for Christ, where he's seemingly praying with his helpers. However, his real character is exposed soon enough when he lights a cigar, and Homelander appears in the nick of time. He asks Father to do something about his addiction for young sidekicks, and the corrupt religious supe is taken by surprise because he has a history of abusing his adolescent sidekicks. Later, while watching a speech of Starlight with Father, Homelander drops the idea of taking over the world, and Father is initially reluctant to join, but he eventually agrees, and there's even a quick story arc where he plans the conquering of the world with Homelander after the latter kills the family. Finally, on the day of the fateful attack, Father does not last very long, even though he joins the fight with Homelander along with his team of adult sidekicks. He beats a journalist brutally, but after the attack on the White House, the Air Force takes care of him. He's killed by a missile fired by the military and has no significant role in the actual battle. I think the comic book narrative never really had any big plans for Father, and he was always meant to be a minor sideshow. Even his powers are minimal, and his durability is questionable because a simple rocket explosion kills him. He does, however, have above average physical strength and the power of flight, both of which haven't been tested in the show yet. What makes me curious about his TV series counterpart is the possibility of something bigger and more sinister. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's revealed to be one of the main brains behind Homelander's obsession with being God, which brings me to my next point. What if Father is the one who manipulated Homelander to develop the god obsession? You know what I find the strangest about Father? It's the fact that he's a supe who's been inducted into the primary decision-making board of Homelander, and we're yet to see what his superpowers in the show are. No, the sonic scream doesn't count for me because it hardly matters. What can his real superpower be? Aside from the unusual super strength and durability, I get the feeling that he has certain psychological powers like mind control or telepathy. I've come across a wild fan theory and I find it very interesting because it actually has a real possibility. According to this theory, Father is the one responsible for Homelander's sudden obsession to be God. He might have met the leader of the Seven somewhere before, and he put the idea into his head using his superpowers. Now it seems like there's nothing that Homelander wants more. And guess who needs to fulfill this ambition? Yeah, the Father as the new religious head who will propagate the words of Homelander as divine, and Homelander as the new god who must be obeyed and worshipped by the masses. It's a win-win situation for Father because he gets a place in the Seven, and if Homelander takes over just about everything, he's sure to get a good and powerful position because of his service. However, there is one major downside to this theory as well. Homelander's been shown to detect any kind of mental attack on, and even someone like Sage can't read his mind easily. If Father can actually get through to his mind without detection, it means that he's a supe to reckon with, and his mental powers are absolutely insane. At least we've already discovered that he's an intelligent man who's made the most of the knowledge about Homelander's favorite beverage. He's stocked up on enough breast milk from donors to keep him well fed and happy for a long time, and history suggests that Homelander is surprisingly nice to people who can keep him stocked up. There's a brief moment when Firecracker seems to upstage him with better ideas, but he quickly finds the right path and becomes Homelander's favorite. I'm sure the milk supply helps, and now with Firecracker out of the way, he will be in the ears of the leader of the Seven at all times. Unfortunately for him, he also has to deal with some really smart people around him like Sister Sage and Soldier Boy, both of whom seem to have agendas of their own. But so far, he's done a pretty good job at staying alive and relevant. Can Father double-cross Ashley? They are married and they have their unique sexual fantasies, but that doesn't make them the best of friends. If anything, the marriage is an arrangement because it's convenient. And I think Ashley trusts Sister Sage more than she trusts Father. Let's not forget that she's now learned about his insane debt in the market, and no matter how hard he tries to cover his tracks, she's onto him. So now that you know there's no deep love or trust between them, what's stopping Father from throwing Ashley under the bus if it suits him? His primary agenda is to warm up to Homelander and be in his good books. And if he ever finds out about the meeting between Sage and Ashley, where they discuss a potential supe world war that would wipe out the majority of V-powered supes, he's quite likely to spill the beans to Homelander. I guess Ashley is smart enough to know that, but she has to be extremely careful with this dubious man who changes colors faster than a chameleon. Something tells me that things wouldn't end well between the two, but I also have a hunch that Ashley will make it out of this situation alive. Father probably wants to be the CEO of Vought or the president. He doesn't seem like the guy who would settle for less, and he's climbed the ladder far enough from humble beginnings. In his mind, I'm sure he wants a lot more power, and currently he has to share with many others. If he can use his religious fanaticism and propel Homelander to the height of glory and popularity, there'll be a big reward. And I'm guessing he has his eyes set on the control of Vought because that will solve all his debt problems overnight. Even the president or vice president should suit him perfectly. But if you want my predictions here, I don't think he gets any of that. And he'll have a rather sorry end to his narrative. Whether or not he's the one behind the crazed version of Homelander that we're seeing now, it's clear that Father has managed to secure a position of power and control, and he'll surely do everything to further his agenda. I'm curious to see how his character arc goes in the series, but there's a very high probability that you'll see him killed off within the next couple episodes. I'd love to hear your take on the matter in the comments below, and tell me what you think of this character and his narrative going ahead. And if you appreciate the efforts to bring you videos like this one, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and ring that bell icon so you don't miss the next video from our channel. And as always, stay marvelous.